Another rainy day. Ooh, flashing light. Oh, it's actually alright. But it's definitely wet. And we've just found out while we walk to the car that someone has called in sick. So might have to pick up the slack and do their job for them if I don't have to do other stuff. But I suspect I'll probably be in clinic, so it really depends on what we get allocated to. The bonus with doing this other, let's go find our car. I forgot where I parked.
Just give me like 15 minutes, all right? I'll be ready in like 15 minutes.
Have unfortunately lost the screw that screws this camera in. Anyways, it's interesting. I wonder if we will have to do this clinic job or if we will be required to just do our normal job today. The problem is these people go through this thing called pre-admissions clinic, and then we have to organize all their tests, investigations, run it by the anesthetic doctors to make sure it's safe to proceed for the operation. If this job doesn't get done, then surgeries get delayed, patients get delayed, everything like that. So I feel like this job is usually a higher priority. Oh, there's an Airedale. Oh, those dogs are great. Those little Airedales. Family has an Airedale. Grew up with them. Unfortunately, a few of them died, but we've still got one. His name's Harvey. So whenever I get to see Mum, we get to see the Airedale, which is pretty cool. So yeah, but anyways, back to this like pre-admissions thing. Full day of this pre-admissions clinic, and I mean, you probably get through 15 patients or so. It's going to be tricky to see if we actually have to do that or if we just do our normal day job. I really don't like the pre-admissions clinic that much. It's tedious. There's a lot of things to do. A lot of people are undercooked, and in the sense that they don't have their investigations all ready to go, and they're booked for an operation, but it's not particularly safe to do so. So we have to do a bit of investigating and optimizing for the patient before we go ahead with the operation. So that might be my life today. The upside is, now this is a pretty good upside. If I do take this shift up, I might actually get paid at what we call locum rates. Now, locum rates are quite a lot higher than the normal rates we get paid as a doctor. In fact, probably like about 3 to 4 times higher. So at the moment, I think my hourly rate is about $44 an hour. But as a locum, if you get paid locum rates, and in fact, I got paid locum rates yesterday, which was pretty unbelievable because I had to fill in for someone. So locum rates are around $130 an hour, which is absolutely insane. So if I do a shift from 7:30 till 5:30, then do the math, it's almost $1,000, if not more. The shift itself is not the most amazing thing in the world. I'll probably just be sitting in an office the whole day, going through patients, their investigations, getting them ready for their surgery, making a lot of phone calls, everything like that. But it's good pay, so it's like, you know, a bit of a balance. I do sort of want to be doing other things like operating and seeing patients and doing ward jobs, but I may get called in to do this. If I do have to do it, then I'm gonna have to chat to workforce and make sure they pay me for it, because I don't want to do something like that if I'm not getting reimbursed for it. I mean, of course I need to help out a friend, but at the end of the day, it's a job and you should be getting paid for the things you do for work. So just remember that whenever you get asked to do something as a junior doctor or a medical student is like, you're not paid, but as a junior doctor or even as a more senior doctor, it's a balance between helping someone out and investing in that relationship for the future versus getting your time properly valued and actually, just making sure you know what you're worth. You're able to provide a service and you're able to help someone out, but at the end of the day, it's a job and you don't work for free. So you should be comfortable with asking people to pay you properly. And this goes back because there's like historic stuff about junior doctors and interns not being very well paid and their time being like abused and everything like that. Lots of different articles out there that comment about this topic. Bit by bit it's changing. There's different things that have come about, class actions, junior doctors standing up for what their worth is and making sure they get paid and all their overtime gets compensated. I think our hospital that I'm at the moment recently underwent a class action, which is where they go into it legally and work out if they're paying the doctors right, or if they need to be reimbursed, or if people are missing out on proper payments and everything like that. So it's really, really important. It also has secondary effects for the culture of work and life as a doctor. If someone thinks that they're being abused in terms of their work and not being financially compensated for their time and contributions to the workforce, then it may lead that person to resent going to work and not wanting to do things and having a bit of a negative relationship with their job. So helping to grow that relationship as best you can, helping both people out, both the person doing the work and the person who's receiving the work. So it's a two-way street, But anyways, that is sort of a long-winded answer as to what I'm going to do today, and it still doesn't help me. What'll probably happen is we'll go to work, we'll do the ward round, we'll talk about it over coffee, because this pre-admissions clinic will start at about 8:30, but it's currently about 20 past 7 at the moment. So we'll need to see our patients that we've got in hospital at the moment, the inpatients, make sure everyone's consented for the elective operations that are coming in, and then we'll just make a plan about what to do with the pre-admissions job. I need to get fuel as well. That orange light has been on for quite a while. Well, I need to stop and definitely get fuel, but whether we get coffee at the same time, that could be a need. Hopefully I get to work on time. Anyways, let's keep going. We'll get some fuel and then we can crack on with this day. I'm sort of excited for this last week. We've only got 4 days left, including today, and then we're going to go on to a slightly different rotation where we organise the big meeting. It's called a multidisciplinary meeting, and essentially with that you discuss patients with cancer diagnoses and their ongoing management plan, or some difficult cases that don't have a clear answer in terms of what to do for their management. And it's like we talk about it on a Zoom meeting with the specialists in urology. That's the rotation I'm on at the moment, and also the oncology doctors, the cancer doctors, and specifically there's radiation and medical oncology doctors, so people who look after the medical treatment and radiotherapy for these patients. So it's essentially like the big two when it comes to cancer treatment. You can do surgery. The big three, to be honest. You can do surgery if it's applicable. You can do chemotherapy or immunotherapy, like medical therapy for the cancer, or sometimes you can do radiation therapy if they're fit enough. And it's a combination of those at different stages of different cancers. One might be better than the other, and for different cancers they respond differently to the different treatments. So some cancers may not actually benefit greatly from certain treatments. It all just depends. That's why we discuss it in the meetings, have different guidelines for different cancers. That's the way we go. And of course, at the end of the day, it's just about seeing the patient. So you can think about doing all these things for patients, but when it gets down to the nitty gritty, you just need to discuss it in clinic, whether it is right for them or not, and just be real with them about what it actually entails and the longevity of it. You know, what the survival is without all these treatments and what the survival is with these treatments, so they can make a balanced decision about what they want to do for themselves. And yeah, that's just what it's all about at the end of the day. So we're about to get to work. We're going to go to this ward round, and then we'll decide what we're doing for the day. So now we've got our fuel. We can head off, which is good. Probably shouldn't go 75 kilometers an hour. I might just slow down right now. Get distracted, you see. This is why you bring screws in. This is why I need to screw in the camera. Anyways, very, very annoying. There you go again, getting distracted all the way up to 75 kilometers an hour. This is not a... Should I be filming while I'm driving? Yeah, the other thing what we need to do this week is we need to negotiate our Friday shift, because there's a potential. We've got a dinner on Friday. We've got a end of year dinner where we're having everyone who's been on urology for the year. We're gonna have a dinner, some drinks, some celebrations. It's gonna be really nice. But one of us, either myself or the other HMO, the other resident on the ward, is allocated a cover shift. Now, I saw my shift finished at 12:30, so I think I ignored it. But technically I'm highlighted on the roster to have it. Now, this poses a little bit of an interesting dilemma. Dinner is at 6. Or everything starts at 6, and I don't really want to do the cover shift if I'm going out for dinner, because the cover shift will finish at 8:30. Oh, there's a friend. There's a person in scrubs riding a bike. Riding a bike to work in scrubs in the rain. It's not the best look. Oh, I mean, no jacket as well. It's like 14 degrees, cold, rainy outside. Oh, that's tough. That's a tough ask. I don't think I'd wish that upon my worst enemy, riding in the rain in scrubs. Then, what do you do when you get to work? You're already wet. Do you have to then change to scrubs? Why not just be comfortable and ride in some cycling clothes? That's what I would have done. But, hey, they probably didn't, we'll give them benefit of the doubt, they probably didn't look at BOM, Bureau of Meteorology. Probably didn't look at the weather app. Where did they go? I thought they were there. They were riding so close. My hands smell like petrol. Probably what happens when you put petrol in the car. I'm still wondering where this cyclist apparated to. Come on, red car. We need to go to work. We've got a ward round in like 10 minutes. I haven't even parked my car. Yeah, but riding to work is it's pretty good. I would highly recommend it. But you just need to be organised. Oh, is this a park? No. Or is this a park? No. Jeez, I'm gonna be so late. Oh, that's a park. We might not be that late though. Alright, let's go. Let's go to work, find out what we're doing. So, we have just finished pretty much most of the day, and we're up here, we're just doing some paperwork, some admin,
what we should do is we should go through how to, I don't know, get over this fear of like starting out as a doctor. Because I think at this time of year, I mean, a lot of people are finishing off their medical degrees. They're about to start becoming a doctor, like a real life person. And it might be 7 years, it might be longer. You know, people have studied for heaps and heaps of time, but now they are just becoming like a real life, you know, health professional, which is super, super scary. I mean, I know when I was finishing off med school a couple years ago, the scariest part of med school for me was like the end of the year, where we would just finish off. We were about to finish all the study. The study was easy. I wasn't the best at it, you know, but I could do it, and I knew how to study. I knew what it was like. You learn the content, you try to study as much as you can. You get a few things wrong, you get a few things right, but then you just have an exam and then you go home and do your own thing, and you have holidays. Being a doctor is so much different to that, because there's no right or wrong answer specifically. There are right and wrong things to do, but in terms of like a yes or no answer, a multiple choice question to choose from, there are so many different variables all the time. And I mean, there's just like a lot to consider, and it's just not as straightforward as what an exam paper is, which is good because it's medicine, you know, and it shouldn't be like that. There is so many things to consider, and that's like exactly how it is. But I think it's so daunting when you're starting out, because you're like, oh, I actually have to do this as a job, like in real life. And it's a big like mental hurdle to like overcome, which you get better at it, you know, like there's a lot to go through. And there's this big feeling of like imposter syndrome, which I think you sort of beat by the end of first year, but then you level up and then you have a new imposter syndrome. So it's like every time you go to school and you finish a year off and you feel good about that year, and you're like, if I had to do this year again, I'd be really good at it. But then you go into the next year and you have to step up your game even more. And that's the same thing with medicine. So after you finish your first year of being a doctor, then you go into your second year and people expect more of you. You do more jobs, you do slightly harder jobs. Whereas in first year, you might just, you know, document, you might just do as what you're told, you hold a pager, you like level up by just getting told to do stuff, you know? You write stuff down, you do little jobs, but in terms of decision making and autonomy, you don't have very much at all. So all that stuff really comes in second year and beyond. You just have to go with the flow with that. And it takes a bit of getting used to. It's taken a bit of getting used to this year for me. And I have never, you never feel like really comfortable for a long period of time. There's times where you actually feel like, oh, I'm doing a good job, I'm learning, I'm leveling up, I can do this. And then there's times where you're like, oh, I actually have no idea. I'm feeling like really out of my depth. And that's okay, because leveling up is not just a simple, like straight up trajectory. It's like an up and down, you know, pathway, which is so normal because you're like just doing this thing that is like super tricky and super difficult, and there's going to be ups and downs and, you know, lefts and rights, and, you know, periods where you feel stagnant, and then periods where you're like smashing everything out of the park and you're like, oh, this is so easy. But it all comes in waves, and I think that's the main thing to consider. So some days will be really good, other days will not be so good, and there will be days in the middle where you feel like you're neither here nor there. You're not leveling up, but you're not regressing. And that's okay, because generally at the end of the year you will feel overall better and more accomplished. But I just really don't know about this feeling of like imposter syndrome when it's going to shake, because when you feel comfortable in medicine, I don't know if that's a good thing. Let me explain. Like, when you feel like you know everything and you're not missing everything and you're getting the right answer on everything and what to do, you always got to second guess yourself to think, well, have I missed something? Am I being too overconfident? Am I overlooking some things? And am I doing what's best for the patient in front of me, or am I doing what I think is best for me? And when you start to consider that for every single person that you're interacting with that you're treating, then it becomes a whole different ballpark, because the medicine is not about you and you doing your job and everything like that. It's simply about doing the right thing for the patient in front of you. So, I mean, yeah, it's an interesting thing. Like, a lot of the time, there's a lot of different things to consider, and yeah, I guess it's just more of like reassuring you that you will feel good at some times and you will feel good at other times, but sometimes you'll feel like not so good, and that's pretty normal. That's okay. And there'll be some times where you just make mistakes and you'll be like, I feel like an intern again, or I feel like a medical student. But then there'll be times where you like completely get it and level up and you're like, I'm actually like a proper like registrar and I know completely and utterly how this thing works, and you make registrar decisions, and that's fine, you know? But the thing is, you won't be able to do it on a day-to-day basis when you first start out. It'll take time and you'll get better and better and better at it. So yeah, these things do happen, but over time you will slowly, I hope, I'm trying to get out of this imposter syndrome and yeah, just feel a bit more comfortable. So yeah, but it's a work in progress, and that's all you can do. Keep rocking up each day, learning as much as you can, and then trying to teach or take away something from that day or from something that you did at work. Because I think that's the main thing. Like, if you're just going to work and doing a job, not thinking about it, not taking away a concept or a learning point, then I don't know how much you will take away from it and remember and actually level up, because that same patient you may not ever see again, and that's a good thing, sure, but because like if the patient's not seeing you, then they're better. But what about the lesson that you learned from that patient? Are they actually, like, have you actually taken away something from that interaction that you can apply to a different patient in a different situation that's slightly similar? Like, how is this interaction going to level you up as a doctor and as a clinician and as a diagnostician? Like, is it going to benefit you and future patients, or are you just going to treat it as a one-off situation and not actually take that much from it? Which I think is a shame, because like each interaction in each patient that you treat or look after, you should actually use that as a learning point to help you become more comfortable and more understanding of that medical condition or topic or procedure or whatever it is. I mean, you should aim to take away as much of that as you can. That will just only benefit you in the future and help you feel less like an imposter, because I don't know about you, but that's the only way like I remember stuff, is by doing, seeing, teaching, not reading a textbook, or not by studying something that I don't understand. Like, I learn by people and interacting with people and actually doing things. And I think that's the best way, well, at least for me, to learn, is by putting myself in the deep end, starting when I'm slightly not ready, and clarifying my plans and my decision making with senior people. And I think that's very much medicine, is that you have a lot of support, but the support wants you to try, wants you to have a go, and wants you to apply your knowledge, which is really, really good, because you shouldn't just wait for the answer to be given to you and wait for something to happen or some other person to make a decision. Like, medicine rewards you from being decisive, but also from seeking help in your decisiveness. It really hates when you make decisions and don't consult other people, or make decisions without, including your senior colleagues in that decision-making process. Your senior colleagues want you to make all the decisions, run it past them to make sure it's all good, and then go ahead and do it for them. Because then that's practice. It's practice making the decisions, clarifying, escalating when appropriate, and then actually doing the stuff that you set out to do and knowing how to do that. The whole point of a senior colleague or a boss or a consultant or a mentor is to guide your decision-making process. They're not there to do it, or they're there to get you out of trouble, and they're there to help you along the way to make the right decisions and maybe point you in the right direction if you're thinking something else, but they're not there to do the work for you. And I think that's a common misconception, and that's what you want when you first start out, is for people to give you the answer, because you're so scared, you're so apprehensive, you don't want to make a mistake or, do anything that would be bad for the patients, which is a good thing. It's a good feeling to have, but it can sometimes put you in the negative when you become so apprehensive and, you become so apprehensive that you stagnate and you don't actually make any decision, which is in fact worse for the patient sometimes, because they need treatment, they need decision making, they need stuff done for them to help them get better. So yeah, it's an interesting process, but you'll learn, you'll get better. It takes time, and it takes getting used to feeling uncomfortable, but knowing where to go and who to seek help from and who to ask is a really good thing to learn about. But yeah, it takes time. You get used to it. You'll be alright. Alright, I'll leave you to it. If you want, come check out some of my other videos. I talk about a whole lot of other things, junior doctor related, and hopefully you can learn about it and get a little bit better, get a little bit more comfortable. I mean, it's not going to come all at once, which is the main thing that I'm trying to convey. And if anything, I don't have it all together at once, even now, even after doing a whole lot of things. You get better slowly over time, but it takes a lot of time to get better, and you just need to figure it out. PRN. When stuff comes up, you just put your hand up, you do it, you put yourself in the deep end, you try your best, and if you get it right, amazing. If you don't, try again next time. That's all you can do. Now, I can't remember where we got up to, but we've now finished the day, which is good. And we're on the way home. We are we've just been to the shops, to be honest. We didn't pick up Christmas presents, but we picked up a nice little hard drive, because having a bit of issues editing, which is very frustrating. So I've put it down, me as a little tech whiz, put it down to, and let's go this way, sure, why not? I've put it down to my hard drive not being fast enough to edit. So let's hope this solves all the problems. I have no idea. Cost about $300, but whatever it is, it is. So Merry Christmas to me. If it doesn't work, just got myself another hard drive. But yeah, I think at the start of the day we were saying about the sick leave and like filling in and everything like that, and I did actually end up getting locum rates for that shift that I picked up, which is really nice, and just makes it a little more worthwhile when you have like a lot of work to do, that you're just getting paid that little bit more. In fact, a lot more. Locum rates are really good. They're like $130 an hour compared to the actual normal rates that you get, which is like $45. I'm just gonna go. So yeah, that's pretty good. But yeah, it's all about like negotiating stuff and with like the workforce, and I mean at the end of the day you are doing like more work, so it isn't the best call in the world, but sometimes you just got to help out, because at the end of the day, you should just do what's right for yourself, but also try to help out the patient and make sure they're getting the best care that you can provide within reason. Like, you don't want to like burn yourself out and then you can provide no care at all. So that's the downside to working a lot and picking up a lot of shifts and everything like that. Like even the other day, Workforce called me up and said, hey, do you want to stay for the rest of the afternoon? I was on a half day, and you want to help out the other unit, vascular surgery. And I was like, thinking about it. And you think about it for like a split second. You're like, all right, this is like 5 hours of work. It could be good, but at what cost? Like, have your half day, relax. Like, there's enough work to go around. Just enjoy your day off. If you are feeling energized and up to it, take the shift, pick it up. It's an easy way to make money and save up some funds if that's what you want to do at that time, and you have enough energy and you're not doing too much else. And so when people get in the groove, they get in the groove. Like, I mean, I was on night shifts in the middle of the year, and there was a guy, Don, he was so funny. He worked for 10 days in a row. Was it 10 days or 14 days? No, I think it was 10 days, but he traveled to different states. The point is that he did 7 nights in a row with us, but after that, like on the last night, he finished at like 8 a.m. in the morning, and then he went straight to the airport, flew to, I think it was like Coffs Harbour or something, and then he did another like 7 days in a row straight. Like, he didn't even have a break. He just flew interstate and then picked up where he left off. Just continued doing the night shift. I mean, that's insane. But after that, like, all the money that you would make from doing those 2 weeks of night shifts straight. I mean, night shifts are very long shifts. They're 12.5-hour shifts in a row, times by 14, add on night penalties, add on overtime penalties, everything like that. I mean, it's a lot of money. But and add on locum rates to that, because Don was not a regular employee at the hospital. Locum. So yeah, insane. Hospitals, you can always work, you can always make a whole lot of money if you want, but sometimes you got to think, like, at what cost. I mean, you can burn yourself out very easily, because you can spend all your time 24 hours a day, 7 days a week doing medicine, and you will still not learn enough, or you'll still find it challenging and complex, and new problems will arise and everything like that. So I think you just need to work hard if you want, and save up some money when you can, but you really don't need to burn yourself into the ground and take up every shift that you possibly can. But there are some gems that come up, there are some absolute very easy shifts that pop up on the calendar that you should take if you want like a little bit of extra funds. I mean, there was this one shift I was in, I think I was in first year. It was the only shift, last year in internship, the only shift that I picked up was a radiology intern shift. And I mean, God knows why they advertised it. I mean, I don't think I saw another radiology intern shift advertised after I did the shift. And for the first half of the day, I did a couple of cannulas for radiology patients who were awaiting procedures and needed to have a drip put in for, contrast or, whatever they needed. I don't know what else. Yeah, if they need like medications given. But contrast is the main thing that they put through the drip. And I put in the cannula. That was pretty straightforward. And the rest of the time, I just sat in the procedure room watching like DSA procedures, which was unbelievable. I think there was like a fistula balloon dilatation, which I watched. And what was the other thing? I actually cannot remember the other one, but I was in DSA, like the angiography suite where the interventional radiologist just chills out for ages. And then, I mean, the rest of the time I just like, you know, helped out this other radiologist who was just organising procedures and reporting scans and preparing for the day. It was actually really cool. I mean, in terms of a shift, I felt like I was on work experience, and sometimes there are those shifts that don't require like a lot of work, and why not just take it up? I mean, that day, I reckon I did about 2 hours of work, and I got like, it was a 10-hour shift. It was like $1,000. It was ridiculous. So the only shifts I pick up now are shifts that I want to do because it helps me like progress and learn more in my career. I only pick up like really surgical shifts, and the main ones I pick up are like urology focused. I can't remember if I've even picked up any other shift this year apart from that. So yeah, maybe a cover shift here and there, but yeah, I think it's like you need to, yeah, it's nice to pick up shifts when you can, but to an extent, like, you just need to relax and have some time off and look after yourself and not separate yourself from work sometimes. You can essentially overcommit yourself and engulf yourself within all the responsibilities that it throws at you. But at the end of the day, it's just a job, and remembering that is a really good thing. Even for like medical students and stuff, like studying and like learning about different things, you can become so overwhelmed with all the things that there are to learn that you start to feel like you know nothing, because there's just, everything is out there. I mean, there's so much to learn in medicine, but if you focus on learning the simple things, the basics, and you focus on ruling out the basics or ruling in the basics whenever you see a patient, then after that's done, you can focus on like the complex things that happen now and then. And I think that's a really good like learning point, because every time you're faced with a new situation, go back to basics, go back to your ABCs, airway, breathing, circulation, first and foremost, and then from that, then you can start just making slightly more complex decisions. Yeah, lots of times in med school, last year, even this year, when you learn so much about a field or an area and you realize how little you actually know, you can actually feel like you know nothing, and actually you regress because you don't feel comfortable or confident. You are actually like knowledgeable, you do know your stuff. Sure, there's a few things that you don't know, but if you focus on the basic things out there, then you can always level up step by step. But yeah, I don't know what we're going to do tomorrow. We have a little bit of clinic duty, which is nice, and I need to check what operations are on the list, because once my clinic duties and MDT duties, like my multidisciplinary team meeting duties, are done, then I can go operate. Or I could study as well. Both are equally valid options to do. So yeah, we'll watch this space. God, it has been like horrendous weather of late. I don't get it. Why is this like so bad? This weather is atrocious this time of year. I mean, I love it. I just wish it wasn't 20 degrees. Like, if I see this weather outside, it should be 3 degrees or 7 or maybe 12. That's it. Those are the only 3 temperatures that it can be. We'll get home, we'll rest up, and we'll see what the go is for tomorrow. We'll watch this space, but yeah. Don't you dare, car. Thought that car was going to back out. Probably should put my windscreen wipers on to see where I'm actually going. Started doing some exercise as well though, which is good. I don't know, always go through ebbs and flows, but right now I've got like a good routine where I'm waking up at like 4:30 or so, and 4:30, getting in like some good study or editing, and then exercising, and then leaving home and going to work, which is really good. And then when I get home, I don't feel like I have to do something, or I have to like, you know, have all these like commitments that I need to do. I can literally just relax and do whatever I feel is necessary. But having all the things done in the morning, for me at least, is just a massive pro for the whole day. It means like there's nothing on my shoulders right now that I need to get done. So yeah, I like it that way. Oh, there's a bin there. Big bin. Alright, where are we going to park? There. Nice. Cool. Alright, we're home. That's been another day. God, that sucked. Let's not ever say that again. See you guys next time.